Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Today I'm going to be making a delicious nettle pesto with nettles from my back garden. So I'm going to be foraging enough nettles to use in the pesto and then showing you how I prepare them and how I put the pesto together and sharing my recipe with you for that as well. So do settle back, relax and enjoy. So you'll see here I have a mixture of stinging nettles and some smaller dead nettles. Both of those types are actually edible, but today I'm literally just going to be harvesting some of the stinging nettles. They are getting quite big now, but I think these are still just about the right height to be really nice to eat. When they start to get really tall later in the season, they're not so pleasant to eat because they get a bit tough. Where we live, there is an abundance of stinging nettles. I live in the countryside in Devon in England, and these nettles in my back garden actually back onto a field. I know that these nettles in my garden have not been sprayed with any pesticides, and there are gardeners who come and monitor the fields and such, and although I don't believe they spray them with pesticides, I can't be sure. There are also neighbours who have plenty of dogs, and so I'm much happier harvesting these nettles from my back garden. These are just some things that you really want to be careful with. Now, obviously, stinging nettles, everybody knows that they sting you, so most people think you need to stay away from them, and that's true, mostly. However, after they've been blanched, they lose their sting and they are really pleasant to eat in salads and in soups and in pestos, such as this recipe that I'm going to be preparing today. Once you know that the nettles you're going to harvest are safe to consume and they have not been on a dog path or right next to a road or something along those lines, you can use some gloves and some secateurs or some scissors to cut them the way I did. I did forage quite a bit of it, but not too much. Definitely I left quite a bit for the bees and the butterflies because they do enjoy the nettles. That's another really good reason to leave the dead nettle, because those beautiful purple flowers on the dead nettle are really fantastic for the bees. There is much documented about fairy lore with nettles in Celtic mythology as well as Norse mythology, and nettles was one of the herbs that was used in an Anglo-Saxon 9-herb charm recorded in the 10th century. The stinging nettle also has so many fantastic nutrients and benefits for the body. It contains a range of vitamins from A, C and K and some B vitamins. It includes some fats that are really healthy for the body, amino acids, beta carotene, minerals such as calcium, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium and sodium, and it also acts as an antioxidant within the body, which means that it helps to reduce inflammation. So it's such a nutrient dense plant to consume, and it was actually an Anglo-Saxon vegetable that was used in nettle stew. Being high in vitamin C, nettle was turned into a beer in medieval times and drunk for rheumatism and as an antioxidant to heal the body. It's also thought to be a good treatment for anemia because it is rich in chlorophyll and in iron, and it's easily absorbed into the system. So there are a range of health benefits to consuming this wonderful herb. As well as being really careful about where you forage and harvest your nettles from, it's really important to ensure that you are only picking and harvesting nettles, because nettles can be surrounded by weeds and other plants that can be toxic, so do be really careful with that. Nettles are fairly easy to identify, and it's a great idea to have an app and a field guide. I like the app Picture This. It's fantastic for identifying plants that you aren't sure about, but to be honest with you, if it comes down to foraging something that I'm going to eat, I need to be 100% sure, so don't take any chances. So once you've harvested your nettles, you want to rinse them, as I did, and then blanch them in boiling water for about a minute and a half, and then you want to drain them and toss them into a bowl of iced water to cool them down really quickly and retain that beautiful green colour. I'm going through all of mine and just taking off the really big stalks. So I'm leaving just a few of the smaller ones, but removing the main thick stalks. After you've finished sorting through your nettles, you can toss them into a salad if you'd like, or into a soup that's already finished and just finish them with the nettles. I am making a pesto, so I'm just going to dry them off lightly with this tea towel. And you could chop them if you are doing the pesto by hand, but I'm actually going to use a blender, so I'm not going to bother chopping them. So I've got here 2 packed cups of blanched nettles, and I've got half a cup of packed Parmesan or any other hard cheese you can use. I'm also using 100 grams of pine nuts. You could also substitute almonds or walnuts. I have the juice of 1 lemon that I'm going to be using. I have 5 cloves of garlic, and I'm going to mince them, and I'm going to use about a teaspoon of sea salt. And then I'm going to add about 16 tablespoons-ish of extra virgin olive oil, and I'm also going to add some extra in at the end because I'm making my pesto as a pasta sauce. But if you want to use it as a dip, you can leave it with sort of 16 tablespoons or so. So I'm using a KitchenAid blender for this, but you could use a mortar and pestle that you use only for culinary usage, of course. And I'm just popping all of my ingredients in. I counted out 5 garlic cloves, and I like the number 5 for this working because I am going to be putting my intention into all of the ingredients as I go. And there is a reason for the 5. I've set my intention, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, but essentially it does surround sort of family, life, prosperity and abundance and joy in the home and love and peace. So all of these things I have set intentions for as I go. So to do this, I ground and center, and then I feel the energy and I set the intention, breathing and pushing energy from myself, from my hands into the ingredients. And I've been doing this as I go along. So I'm going to be using some Parmesan cheese because my hubby and I really enjoy it. But if you are vegan, you can omit the Parmesan. For years and years and years, I made a very similar pesto and just never included Parmesan cheese at all. So you can do that if that is your preference. All of these ingredients, of course, have their own magical correspondence, and a lot of that is based on how you feel into the ingredient and what it gives to you. The olive oil is definitely connected to love spells, so there's that element too, and you can really feel into what works for you in terms of correspondence. So this is 16 tablespoons worth of extra virgin olive oil, and it's the good stuff. And if you are going to create a pasta sauce, you can add some more olive oil, which I will do in a minute. I'm using the juice of 1 lemon here. And again, I love putting it through my fingers and catching the seeds with my fingers because it means that I can imbue some intention into it as I go. You can add more or less lemon, more or less salt, more or less cheese. I would probably stick with the same amount of nuts or seeds. So these are pine nuts, but you could use sunflower seeds or you could use almonds or walnuts. I've often made almond or walnut pesto and it's just delicious. So just whizzing this up. Gorgeous green colour, and I'm going to give it a little taste. It's pretty much spot on and it tastes absolutely delicious. So I've got a bowl that I'm just going to serve it out into so I can take a look at it and all of its beauty and just give it some love, because I think that's part of the joy of creating food like this, food that is from the heart, from the garden, from your own garden, and really imbuing it with your love and your magical intent. So I'm just adding some more olive oil to it, and I'm gonna just give it a little stir up as I speak out my intentions intuitively, just speaking what comes. So you can use this to marinate fish, or chicken or tofu. You can use this in soups, on top of soups. You can use this in pasta dishes. You can use this as a dip as it is, with some hummus chips, kettle chips or whatever. I like to put my pesto into an ice cube tray and cover it with foil, because then my hubby and I can use 3 or 4 or 5 of these cubes, depending on how much pasta we're making and eating, to create a pasta meal in the middle of the week without having to worry about making the pesto. It's already done, so it's really, really simple. All you have to do is fry up some onions and some garlic, put in whatever vegetables you like, so maybe some courgettes, some zucchini, a few of those cubes, obviously, you know, some oil and such, and some extra cheese if you like, and you can make a really delicious pasta dinner for yourself in no time at all, having this stashed in the deep freeze. So that is my homemade nettle pesto, and it really is absolutely delicious. Please do give this a try. If you enjoyed the video and you do try the recipe out, do let me know. I'd love to hear in the comments below. Do give the video a thumbs up, share with anyone who you think would be interested to see. And of course, if you'd like to see more from me around tarot, witchcraft, magic and spirituality, then please do think about subscribing. While you're subscribing, don't forget to hit that little bell notification to be notified when I create videos just like this. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope that you stay well and safe, and I look forward to seeing you in another video really soon. Take care, bye.